Okay, so my name's Christine Edwards. I'm the manager for the Integrated Response Hub. So I'm currently over here in Rushden at the hub. Hopefully I won't get interrupted because the guys do know I'm doing this, so fingers crossed. Okay, so the Integrated Response Hub was set up to look at a self-referral point across Northamptonshire where anybody can call for their mental health needs. So we were looking at improving the access to mental health provision, because what we'd had in way of feedback from service users and carers was that it's really difficult to navigate around mental health services within NHFT. So that was our first point, to look at an easier process to enable people to get the right support for their mental health needs. We built on what we already had with our relationship with the third sector. So working alongside Mind, we already had the crisis cafes. So our thought was doing something to build on that, to again provide that easier access to service. So alongside our colleagues at Mind, we offer a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week phone line that was set up to look at that improvement of services. Okay, so staff within the hub are encouraged to work with each caller into the hub to find a resolution without that need for that organisational boundary that we found was happening before we were in place. So every contact with the hub focuses on the goal and to improve an individual's hope, control and opportunity in relation to their mental well-being. So no matter who calls, we will try and get an outcome for them during that call. That might be that it needs to go to different professionals through the hub, but we work that through as a team. So our team is made up of mental health navigators. So our navigators are employed through the third sector and work in collaboration with us. Then we have our Band 4 NHFT support workers, Band 5 mental health practitioners, so there are qualified members of staff and are made up of occupational therapists, social workers and registered nurses. And then our Band 6 mental health practitioners, who are our lead practitioners within the service, again made up of occupational therapists, social workers and registered nurses. The whole of what we do was set up in co-production, so feedback from service users and carers, and they were part of every bit of our journey to set up the service. So they helped us develop a triage tool to look at a questionnaire, but one that initiates a conversation. They helped us deliver then training to get the guys knowing what they need to do when those calls come through, and they're part of constant feedback and service development. Everything we do is alongside our service users and carers. So what we do within the Integrated Response Hub, we are 24/7, so every day of the week we are here and we're open to all. So whether that's self-referral, a carer ringing in about a loved one, or professionals wanting to refer through concerns about somebody. We work on a call handling system, which is really great because it enables us to work from anywhere. So we don't all have to be based within Rushden. Some of us work more remote and are from across the county. Okay, we also take paper referrals across the county from GP, IAT, any professional. So we have a north and a south inbox where people email through referrals, and the guys working within the hub will work through those in the same way we do the incoming calls, looking at the need and looking where best to get the person help and support. We also offer emotional support, which was previously known as our crisis and telephone support service within NHFT. They moved across to us. It made sense that it sat within our structure of the hub. So anybody can ring in and can get that emotional support from one of our skilled practitioners. What we do in essence is we triage, we complete the hub questionnaire and we look at the need. And from that point, we have a range of services within the third sector that we can access and get a person through to. or we can look at whether it needs to go through to NHFT, so whether it needs more of our secondary care services and a referral needs to go through to our community mental health teams. We'll be able to do that all in one call without a person having to ring various different other organisations. So the journey is that one call through to us and we get the person through to where they need to be. Okay, so we started in March 2020. Months, if not a year of planning. Everything was set to go on March the 16th, 2020. We started just before the first lockdown was announced, which was March 26th, 2020. You could say it was bad timing. Actually, what we looked at was it was perfect timing. We were going into the pandemic, the first lockdown, and people were becoming more isolated. Services within NHFT were offering less face-to-face and a reduced service. We were still there. We were still able to offer our 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service. However, with that came some challenges. So we were set up as a brand new service, and our start process was one that was going to be a slow introduction within Northamptonshire, just opening the doors gently, allowing a few calls, what we anticipated around 30 calls a day. We exploded somewhat during those times and very quickly had to recruit more staff. What we ended up with was a lot of redeployed staff from NHFT services that were closing, working within the hub for a period of time, which really helped with the volumes of calls that we were having. So a number of NHFT services were unable to carry on their roles during the pandemic. Both the hub, the crisis cafes and our hospital at home service all continued. We didn't reduce anything that we offered just the same throughout the pandemic. Our call handling enabling us to be remote was a bit of a lifesaver during those times. It meant not everybody had to come into the hub. Obviously, we still had to be cautious with numbers within the office, but you can work from anywhere. So staff can work from home if there is a need to be. So those that were shielding, those that couldn't be with other people at all were still able to work, which was really good for the well-being of our staff as well, that they were still able to contribute. So since starting the service, we've had, and this is back to August now, I haven't updated the data, but 108,524 calls since we started, and we now average 500 to 600 calls per day in a 24-hour period, which is quite massive, and we're finding we're ever growing, so the calls continue to increase on quite a rate through to our service. So also within our part of the service, we cover the crisis cafes across Northamptonshire. We have a navigator based at the council offices, both at Kettering and Northampton. So our navigators will be there doing exactly the same as they do within the hub. They'll be looking at triaging that person's need and getting them through to the right support. They're linked very closely to the hub. So if there is a need to escalate into secondary care through NHFT, that can be done. And then we also offer our hospital at home across the county. I'll explain a bit more about that in a moment. We're also expanding and looking at what else we can do within Northamptonshire. So over the last 2 months, we've been piloting with supporting the Irish Cafe. So there's the Irish Community Cafe in Northampton, and we go along to be a presence, to be there for anybody who might want to come and speak to us about their mental health needs. So we do that once a week, and we're also looking at starting a pilot within gyms across Northamptonshire. Specifically looking at that because we know that males within our population are less likely to pick up the phone and make contact with us. So we were looking at ways that we can be there and reach out to those that might need us but wouldn't necessarily pick up the phone. So that's currently a bit of work in progress. One of my colleagues has been looking at the local gym offer and how we can work closely and what work we could do in a pop-up cafe type of way. So we'd be going along, being there, offering some leaflets, but also an opportunity for people to speak to us should they want to. So Crisis Cafes does come under the remit of the Integrated Response Hub and forms quite a big part of what we do. The Crisis Cafes are across Northamptonshire, so we have 6 in total currently. 1 in Northampton, Daventry, Rushden, Wellingborough, Kettering and Corby. There's always at least 2 cafes open on any day, and we've recently extended the times of their opening. So when they first started, it was just Kettering and Northampton that were open a couple of days a week. We've now gone to a 7-day-a-week service, with them opening until either 10 o'clock in the evening or 11 o'clock in the evening to give a real accessible service for all. They are a drop-in, so you don't need an appointment to attend the Crisis Cafes. Anybody can just come in, and what you have within the cafes is a mind support worker working alongside staff from NHFT. We provide a safe, friendly environment for people to come and chat about anything that's going on for them at the moment. Again, a great deal of signposting will be done within the Crisis Cafes and accessing people to the third sector and anything that might benefit them. Sorry, let's just shut that down. The main aim of the Crisis Cafes and the reason they were put in place, so they were there before the Integrated Response Hub, but they were initially put in place to look at the reduction in numbers going through to A&E. So what we found, because at the time I was managing the acute liaison team at Kettering General, a large number of people turning up at A&E wanting support for their mental health needs, but weren't at A&E for their physical health. Okay, they went to A&E because they weren't sure where else to go to get support for their mental health, and that was a large proportion of what we saw coming through A&E's doors, and what we know is that A&E is already overwhelmed with people going through. So we successfully did that, and we started off as a pilot and very quickly saw the numbers coming through to A&E reduce. So we built on that part of the service. So what we do is draw on a person's strength, resilience and coping mechanism to manage their mental health and well-being. We remained open all through the pandemic. Business as usual for us, recognising actually more than ever people needed somewhere to go to get support for their mental health needs. So between March 2020 and March 2021, we supported 4,654 individuals despite the pandemic. Okay, like I say, it's open to all. We have people coming in, again, carers, supporting their loved ones, but not sure where to turn, will come into the cafe to ask around what support can be offered. Okay, and then we have the hospital at home, which started again as a pilot, but is a co-produced alternative for mental health admissions in times of crisis. So again, as we get a lot of feedback from service users and carers around their journey with their mental health and what they feel worked and what could be improved. And one notable aspect was, yes, hospital has its place, but actually sometimes there are reasons people do not want to go into hospital. They could have carer responsibilities within the home. They could be very anxious about being around other people, and then the thought of going into an acute admission in our inpatient wards just scares the life out of them. They could have pets and things they don't want to leave. So we worked really hard to look at an alternative to continue to support a person as if they were being treated in hospital, but bringing this to them within the person's home. So it started in January 2019, and we did just that, but we provided support. We can offer 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's a short-term piece of work, so we wouldn't normally offer beyond a 2-week period for hospital at home because it's about that crisis intervention. Again, we do it in collaboration with our third sector colleagues, so Mind support during the day, and then NHFT offer the night support, and we also do it alongside our colleagues at the urgent care and assessment team. Okay, so again, we look at providing hope, control and opportunity for service users, and it was all done in collaboration. So works on a similar model to our crisis house, which are based in Rushden and Northampton. So it's a contract, somebody signs up and agrees to hospital at home, working with their goals and what they need support with to get over their crisis. Okay, so that's my whip through what we do within the hub and the crisis cafes and our hospital at home service. And then what I wanted to do is open it up to you guys to see if you had any questions. Stop sharing the screen.
No.
Everybody goes really quiet.
Hi, Bridge here. We have a question. Is it for over 18s?
17 and a half, so 17 and a half. That's not to say that we wouldn't signpost and support anybody under that age, and we have done both in the cafes and through the hub. So quite a few parents and carers of under 18s will ring us, and we're still able to get them through. So we work closely with our colleagues at CAMS. We have a direct line to them, so we're able to get a person through again to the support that they need.
Thank you.
Can I just ask about the role of a navigator? So what would that entail, and how would we refer to that?
So the navigators will be your first point when you call through to the hub, and they will complete the questionnaire if you're ringing in, and then they look at what support is available within Northamptonshire. Obviously, you've got the option of using the navigators that sit within the council offices, so at Kettering and at Northampton, and you can go in, and again they do the same thing. So it's about asking around the needs and then looking at the signposting onwards.
Hi, so I just have another question. So if someone wanted to access your service and they wanted to attend one of the crisis cafes, but say their local one was closed on that day and they needed to access another one, is there any funding available that you're aware of to support with transport getting to that location?
It's on a needs by needs basis. So if that person couldn't access their local one and they were to ring here, we would consider where they are in terms of their crisis. What we don't have is a budget for taxis, so it has to be on that needs assessment.
Okay, no, that's good to know, thank you.
No problem. Kath, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, Christine, I think there's a couple of comments that people have put in the chat. I think Judy has asked if you could put the slide back up about the overview of the service, and there's also a couple of other questions from Tina. Is the service in Kettering Council office face-to-face?
It is face-to-face in Kettering Council, yeah.
And Sonia's also asked, if we're working with a customer and we would like to see if they have a support worker, could we give the hub a call to gather this information?
Yes, you can. Obviously, ideally you need consent from that person, because that's one of the questions we'll go through with you. And we're only able to see it if it's accessible on our system one, which is our clinical recording system. If it's on there and we've got consent to share that information with you, we will do. Anna, you're right, I didn't put the phone number up. That was a bit of a mistake from me, wasn't it? So I put the phone number in the chat. I'll pop the phone number in there. Kath, have I missed any of the questions?
No, I don't think so. I'm just putting the evaluation in the chat just for people to complete, because there is certificates available if people want that.
Hi, can I just ask a quick question?
Of course you can.
Yeah, I did ask about the face-to-face in Kettering, and you said it was. So is that 24/7 face-to-face or only office hours?
No, office hours, because they're based in the council buildings. So
Okay.
I believe they're there 2 days a week currently, because that's only just reopened following obviously everything getting back to a little bit of normality.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I can see some hands up, but I can't see who they are. They're just coming as hands.
Hi, Andy Horwood from Northampton. You mentioned about sort of north and south dedicated inboxes. Does that correlate to north and west council areas, or?
So in our terms, south is Northampton, Daventry, Towcester, and the districts surrounding the cut-off point being Wellingborough. So then you've got our north is Wellingborough, East Northampton, Kettering. Not quite sure if that works the same as.
That sounds roughly the same, but yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah. So I've put the hub number in the chat. I'll put it in again just so we're 0800 448 0828. And like I said, 24/7. So there's always a team of us either here or working remotely. But on average, we have 12 staff on at any point. Sometimes that increases because we tend to know now where our call increase comes during the day, and we'll increase staff accordingly.
Hi, Bridge again. I'm just wondering when is the time of day where your call is increasing?
So strangely, because we did find it was a bit strange and not what we were expecting, but 3 o'clock in the afternoon is our highest call volume.
Okay, thank you.
Not sure why, with no rhyme or reason to that, but 3 o'clock.
Hi, can I just ask a question around referrals? You said that the referrals come through from doctor surgeries and other professionals. How would I get a little bit more information on that? Because that is possibly something that I would like our team to be aware of, and I'm not sure they are.
Okay, I can send out our universal referral form and the inbox email addresses if that's helpful.
Yeah, that'd be really helpful for us, if that's possible, please.
Yeah, absolutely, that's fine. Kath, have I got someone I can send, because I can send the slides and all the information then out?
I think I've already put the link to the NSAB website in the chat, but I can see that Chloe's also put in as well, Christine, that she can send the slides out to all colleagues, and the recording will be available on the NSAB website next week for everybody to access. So,
okay, so if I send the information through to Chloe, then she'll be able to get it out with the other.
I'm sure she'll be happy to help with that.
Okay, lovely. Was there anybody else with their hand up? Again, I can't see on my screen if you have got your hand up. Feel free just to shout anything out at me. Like I say, anything at all, you can just ring us.
Hi, can I just quickly ask something? You mentioned that you're thinking of perhaps setting up in gyms or near gyms because men tend not to ask for mental health support. Do you know the percentage of male to female callers coming in?
We're definitely higher percentage with females. I couldn't tell you what off the top of my head, but we have collated data around that, so we know that there is a higher proportion of females that call us than males.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Okay. Well, thank you for having me along.
Christine, I think Andy's got his hand up. I can see. I don't know if that's a recent hand or no, he's took it down now. Okay.
It's gone. Okay. Like I say, any questions, just feel free to email or give the hub a call. Okay. Thank you very much.